It's Dr. Charmaine Gregory, and I want to tell you the story about how I was making breakfast, and the persons, the party that were at breakfast was basically was about three of us, right? And the question that was asked was when everyone looked at the breakfast that I made, which I was very proud of, by the way, they were wondering, particularly the host was wondering, how did I end up getting that many eggs scrambled from only two eggs? All right. So I don't know about you guys, but have you ever made scrambled eggs? Do you know what it takes to make scrambled eggs? I'm not going to say that I am the best cook in the world because that would be a fallacy. I will say though that this was early in the game of um I'm just gonna say it. My relationship with my husband, right? So we had literally we were dating, and he had a family member over, and I was making breakfast because I wanted to make breakfast, and I decided that I was gonna make scrambled eggs, and I thought that that would have been a great thing to do. Unbeknownst to me, hey Leta, thanks Lita, thanks for joining. I thought that I was doing a good thing, right? I thought that I was making this amazing breakfast and everybody would be happy. And my husband is very particular about breakfast because it is his favorite meal, and he makes a killer breakfast himself. And so there I was trying to impress him, impress his family member, and thinking that I could make this scrambled egg component to the breakfast. So we all, so I was like all excited. So I went in the kitchen, I did my thing. I took the eggs and I scrambled them up and I added some stuff, which I thought you should, and then voila, there was a large plate full of scrambled eggs made from two eggs. so So, hey, Mindy, thanks for joining. So, we all sit down. My husband does his other part of the breakfast, and we all sit down and we are getting ready to partake of the breakfast. And he takes a bite of the eggs, and his countenance changes. He goes from smiling to a puzzled look on his face. He's like, what is going on here? And then his family member who's at breakfast with us, she too is looking a little puzzled and wondering what's going on in her mouth with these eggs. So then the questions come. All these questions. Lots of questions came. Like, wait, weren't there only two eggs in the fridge? Like, wait, how do we have so many eggs in the plate? Why does it taste like this? Then I had to explain. What did I do? How did I go from two eggs to a plate full of scrambled eggs? Well, I thought that, and again, I told you guys I'm not a great cook. Like, I'm just being honest. I thought that I could take these two eggs and I could make them be more eggs by adding milk. So that's what I did. I added a whole bunch of milk, and I stretched those two eggs into more than two eggs scrambled. OMG. I haven't thought about that story in a little while. So I'm telling you this story kind of because I want to talk about three ways in which you can save money, right? So one of the ways that you can save money, no, it is not by taking two eggs and using milk to extend them to be more so you can feed people at breakfast, but it is by making food at home. So, I don't know. We tend to be folks that, I'm just looking for something real quick. Sorry, guys. Um, of course, I'm in the car outside of karate. You know how it is as a busy mom. You got to do things wherever you can, right? And so, yeah, so one of the ways in which you can save money is by making your meals at home, right? So what do we like to do as Americans? We just love to eat out, right? We love to eat out. We're like, just get like a $5 biggie bag or whatever, and or we'll go out to eat, once, twice a week or whatever like that. But then we don't really keep in mind that that kind of adds up, right? That adds up actually pretty rapidly. Kind of to the tune that the average household, and I was kind of shocked at this, so I'm just looking at the stat here. I want to make sure I get it right. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics basically says the average household in the United States will spend about $3,365 eating out. That is $280 a month. That's a lot, right? $280 a month. And so if you think about it, you'd be eating out maybe 2 meals and you'll be spending about the same as it would cost you to buy a week's worth of groceries. So you can see, if you sit down and think about it, how much you potentially save, right? So if you decide that you're going to make your own meals at home, you can literally save you a bunch of money. If you're one that goes out and eats out quite a bit and you kind of are in the category of the average household spending that $3,300 a year on eating out. I personally love to eat at home, and mainly because my husband is a great cook. I am not so much. I like to follow recipes. I'm good at that. I can follow a recipe. I can't say that I am a chef by any means, but he's a great cook. So I love eating at home. And I also like to pack my lunch. So when I'm going to work at night, I have my lunch packed because I do this for a couple of reasons. I do it because I wish not to partake in all of the highly sugar-laden treats that are available during the night shift. And so I bring my own sugary treats, but my sugary treats are actually fruit. So I eat a lot of fruit at night. In my lunchbox, I have tons of fruit. I have my Greek yogurt. I have a salad usually. I will have, hey Lisa, thanks for joining. I will have whatever yummy little snack there is in the home that I can sneak in there, and I'll bring my protein drink, and I will have lots of water, and I'll sometimes sneak and get some of the children's Go-Go Squeeze. That's that applesauce stuff. I'll sneak and get some of those and snack it in and tuck it in the lunchbox and have that. So for me, I look forward to my snacks, right? I look forward to having my lunchbox there, and I can just grab a fruit as I'm going along and I'm charting or in between patients, because it's way better an alternative for me than eating some of the junk that is available to me at night. And it also helps out with the waistline, right? Because night shift workers, unfortunately, for the distribution of which we have our cortisol release, we're at a little bit higher risk of gaining weight at night. And so since I'm a night shift worker, and I have been for over a decade, I'm very careful about what I eat at night. So packing your lunch, eating at home, that is number one tip today about how you can save money. So if you can, and I'm not saying you shouldn't eat out. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, just be mindful that you could be spending a ton of money could be coming out of your household pocket each month from eating out, where you could, go and purchase items for the week and have you some delicious meals at home, spend time with family, all that good stuff, right? Okay. So the second tip, so number one tip was pack your lunch, eat at home, save you some cheddar. Number two is buy generic. Hey Elaine, thanks for joining. Buy generic. What am I talking about? Okay, I don't know what kind of cereal you like. Me personally, I love Raisin Bran, and I like a specific kind of Raisin Bran, and it has to be Post, okay? It can't be any other Raisin Bran. It can't be the generic type. So there's certain things that I just won't buy generic. But I will buy generic. Oh, gotta get back on it. Now I hear you, lady. I will buy generic cream cheese. I'll buy generic everything else. I'll buy the store brand for pretty much the majority of everything else. That is the one thing, the Post Raisin brand, that I will purchase the brand one for. But really, in reality, if you look at the different packages of things, the ingredients are essentially the same, right? The ingredients are the same. You're really paying, that markup is for marketing and it is for packaging. So if you don't care about that stuff and you just want the thing that's there, so like, for example, if we look in our medicine cabinet, like we don't have necessarily Tylenol brand, acetaminophen. We have like Kroger acetaminophen. You know what I mean? Like we have the basic stuff, like, because it costs less. And so you'll find that if you're chasing brands for everything, I mean, I get it. There are certain things you just desire to have that brand name. That's fine. Like for us, like I said, Post Raisin brand is the joint. Okay. But, if you're talking about like Tylenol or Motrin or something like that, the generic is acetaminophen and ibuprofen, right? So you can get any brand ibuprofen, any brand, including like CVS or the store brand like Kroger, of those things, right? And you still will be fine. The formulation is the same. So consider that as another way to save money, all right? So the first way I said you can save money is by eating at home, right? So eating at home, packing your lunch when you have to go to work. Number 2 is buying generic, okay? So generic stuff, as long as it doesn't have to be specifically on brand. Like some medications do need to be on brand in order for them to be effective for you personally. Some people try generics in certain formulations and it doesn't work for them as well as that brand name. So, barring that, look for the generic stuff. And then the last tip number 3, is get out of debt. Okay, how do I get out of debt? Ooh, that one can be tricky, but it is not as hard as you think. And you don't have to make a lot of money in order for you to be able to get out of debt. So if you have credit card debt or you have debt of any flavor, you can utilize something called a snowball effect. And what the snowball effect is essentially you take the smallest debt and you pay that one off first. So you would pay the minimums on everything else and you would put, the most money on that smallest debt until it is eradicated. Then you move on. You take that same money that you're putting on that smallest debt, you roll it over to the next one, not whatever becomes smallest next. And you keep going, and before you know it, you have paid off your debt. Now, this means that you cannot add more debt to your docket, right? So if you're talking about paying off credit cards, then you have to put a freeze on using them. And then you have to go with not using that smallest one in particular. And then you want to knock that one out. And then once you've knocked that one out, you move to the next one, et cetera, all the way down until everything's paid off. And then what happens? You freed up a bunch of cash, right? Because you would have budgeted to pay these debts every month with that cash. So then now you can use that cash and you can literally save it, okay? Because you were going along and this was the amount of money that you were putting toward your debt. Now you can put it towards your saving. So yeah, the snowball effect, that's what it's called. So those are my 3 tips, and that is how you turn 2 eggs into a meal for 3 at breakfast. And I don't recommend that, by the way, that part. But I do recommend eating at home, packing your lunch, saving money that way, saving you that $280 a month if you possibly can. And then 2, buying generic. I almost forgot what it was. Buying generic. Hey, Atandra. Buying generic is number 2. And then number 3 is snowball effect those debts. Get those debt gone, okay? You will be so much happier. You'll be so much happier when you can cut up those credit cards or have them zeroed and not have to worry about having to pay that debt back every single month. All right? So that's what I have for you guys. Thank you so much for listening and watching. And if you have tips, please, please, please drop them in below, in the comments below. If you have a story like mine where you had turned 2 eggs into much, much more, definitely hit me up and let me know about it too, because I'm curious. I'm always collecting stories. I think stories are super awesome. So yeah, so eat at home, so save you some money, $280 a month at least. Use generic, buy generic, and snowball those debts away. Bye bye to debt. Cut up cards, etc. And yeah, so drop below whether you watch the replay. Drop below whether you have a tip or two for the rest of us in regard to saving money. And then also let me know if you can relate to my egg story. All right? Cool. All right, so this is Dr. Tremaine Gregory, and I hope that you will be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness. Have a great one.